You're listening to the Loida Lewis Podcast, hosted by Loida Nicholas Lewis. She's a trailblazing businesswoman, leader, philanthropist, and the widow of Reginald F. Lewis, the visionary leader who was the first African American to build $1 billion company. With unparalleled determination, Loida Lewis has not only excelled as a successful attorney, but also shaped a $1 billion empire. Following the untimely passing of her husband, Reginald F. Lewis, she took the helm of TLC Beatrice, carving her legacy as a successful business leader. Be inspired and learn from her as she shares her wisdom, the secrets to her success in both business, in love, and in life. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn. With your host, Miss Loida Lewis.
Welcome to the Loida Lewis Podcast. I'm here in Manila for this special edition where we have a very special guest. And I am so awed that she had time to meet with us. I will call her Senator because that's how I knew her 7 years ago. Senator Leila de Lima. Senator, thank you very much.
Loida.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so honored to be in your podcast. I was so excited to be here and converse with you. And I missed you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
But really, Senator, I am very, very touched that for 7 years you endured political, illegal imprisonment. Okay, so has it been that long? Nearly 7 years?
Yes, ma'am. It's actually 6 years, 8 months, and 21 days, or a total of 2,454 days. I kept track of the days because I was writing on my journal every day. So I knew exactly what day is it. Is it day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way to the last day, the day of my release in November 2023.
454 days. And wasn't that solitary confinement?
Almost semi-solitary confinement because I was all alone in a big compound, although my detention quarters was small, and I was actually prohibited from interacting with the other detainees there in that facility, PNP, or Philippine National Police Custodial Center. So semi-solitary confinement, and especially during the pandemic, it was particularly tough because there were several months where the facility enforced a total lockdown. So it was a solitary confinement. I could only see human beings a few minutes a day when the guards who would deliver to me food and supplies. So the rest of the day, I'm all alone there, only with my cats there, the stray cats.
Okay, all alone, especially during the pandemic. So can you tell the audience, what kind of physical environment did you have? You know, what kind of room? Did you have air condition, television, the usual amenities in a regular life?
Okay, it was a small detention quarters. As I said, it was a big compound, but on a small detention quarters. I had a small bed, but I was deprived of the use of cell phone.
No cell phone?
No cell phone. I had no access to internet.
No internet?
No electronic gadget whatsoever.
Wow.
No refrigerator.
No refrigerator?
No TV.
No television?
No radio.
No radio, Sus Mariosep.
No aircon.
No air conditions. Kainit-init. I mean, it's so hot.
It was so hot, especially during summer. It's really so hot that I just had electric fans there. And then no shower.
No shower, Sus Mariosep. Ibig niyo sabihin, punas lang ng punas. I mean,
tabo
meaning to
po.
say,
Yung
tabo.
So,
okay. Wow.
Those supposedly basic amenities, these are considered contrabands under the rules of the custodial facility. So I just had to comply with them. I followed all the rules. I could not complain because I actually didn't want any special treatment from them. But considerable, it was a livable condition if we think about the very condition of the ordinary detainees in ordinary jails in our country. You know, the subhuman living conditions of detainees, severely congested jail facilities. So I would just think about them and be satisfied with what I had
Yes.
in my detention.
But the thing is
Yes.
that you were detained for what reason?
Based on fabricated charges. These are all trumped-up charges, drug charges. Three cases. First, it was for consummated illegal drug trading, and then they later amended it. The prosecution amended those 3 charges into conspiracy to commit illegal drug trading. Their basic charge is that I connived, I protected, I benefited from the illegal drug trade inside the National Penitentiary, which is the New Bilibid prison. That was a total lie. I never dealt with those convicted drug lords inside that facility. But they had to fabricate those charges because they wanted me out. They wanted me silenced. They wanted me broken because of my fierce opposition to the extrajudicial killings, all those summary executions happening under the name of Mr. Duterte's war on drugs, which is actually, it turned out to be a bogus war on drugs because they were simply targeting poor people, suspected street time, drug pushers and drug addicts in slum communities. But they were not targeting the big-time drug lords.
Yes, that
Yes.
is the real thing.
That's the real
Only
thing.
poor people were killed, right?
Yes.
And no drug lords were ever apprehended. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so he was saying that you were the drug lord.
Yes, they called me names, ma'am. Mother of all drug lords, Bilibid drug trade queen, #1 narco politician in the country. Those were the labels I was getting from their minions. Well, from the president himself, Rodrigo Duterte, and his subalterns, and his troll army.
So why is President Duterte, ex-President Duterte, that much anxious to humiliate you with those charges that were not true, that were not
It started
fabricated?
Yes, it actually started, ma'am, in 2009 when I was the chairperson of the Commission on Human Rights, and I led a public inquiry into the killings attributed to the Davao Death Squad. Remember that, ma'am?
So
the
he
DDS.
was the chair. He
The
was
mayor.
the mayor of Davao.
And there were unresolved summary killings there of mainly petty criminals. So just killing them, and we had this Davao Death Squad, and this was exposed actually years later.
Actually,
by,
2 months ago, New York Times had this confession of one of the death squad
members, self-confessed
Correct.
DDS hitman.
Yes.
That's Mr. Edgar Matobato.
That's it. Yes.
So
and the whole world learned how the killing, how he
Yes.
would kill on
It was
orders
terrible.
of
Yes.
ex-President Duterte.
And there were even killings that made by Mr. Duterte himself, as exposed by Edgar Matobato and also by Arturo Las Cañas.
But I also saw a video where President Duterte himself said, I killed.
Yes, he admitted that.
He admitted. It's
Even
on the-
during the
it's on-
hearings, in the Senate hearings, and then the Quad Committee hearing in the House of Representatives, he made admissions there under oath, and one of them is admitting that he did kill also some people, and that he had his own death squad. So those were very significant admissions. So it's
So when you started it in 2009,
yes, ma'am.
okay, how did it, and then you were elected senator,
I was first appointed as DOJ secretary.
DOJ secretary.
Yeah, under President Noynoy Aquino. So
Okay.
after because my term in the CHR before, in the Commission on Human Rights, was from 2008 to 2015, supposedly. But in 2010, when President Noynoy became president, he appointed me as a Justice Secretary. So I had to resign from the Commission on Human Rights. So for up to 2015, I was the Justice Secretary until I was convinced also by former President Noynoy Aquino and also former Secretary Mar Rojas to join the senatorial slate of the administration then in 2016. So I also became a senator. And when I became a senator, and that's the time also when Rodrigo Duterte became the president, and he again, killings again started to happen.
Yes.
Almost on a daily basis.
Yes, the New York Times again had a front page issue of a poor man,
Yes.
not a drug lord, dead on the street.
Yes, so I could not take it. I knew that what was happening then in Davao, as the handiwork of the Davao Death Squad or DDS was again happening, this time at a national level. So it was not acceptable to me. So I immediately filed a resolution calling for an inquiry into those summary killings. I even delivered a privileged speech, and then I conducted a public inquiry, also a Senate inquiry, as then chairperson of the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights. So, but only after 3 hearings, especially after I presented Mr. Edgar Matubato as a resource or witness there, I was ousted by the majority of my colleagues in the Senate as the chairperson of that committee.
Wow, they had to stop it
They had to stop it.
on orders by we know who.
Very clearly, it
Yeah.
was orders of the president.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I wasn't able to finish that investigation.
Yes.
And then later, they filed those fabricated charges in February 2017.
So you only had how many months as senator?
8 months as full-time senator. I still remained a senator when I
Yes,
was jailed,
jailed,
but
yes.
in a limited capacity.
Obviously.
Yes, because I could not attend the hearings
Yes,
and the
yes.
plenary deliberations.
Yes. So that's why when I saw, Rodrigo Duterte, ex-president, tell on television about talking to you to say, you better hide because, his hatred of you is so palpable.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, it started in 2009 because I think no one really dared, because the CHR, the Commission on Human Rights, we all went there, right there in their territory, and conducted the public inquiry. So it was not acceptable to him. That's his kingdom. And then in the course of one of the hearings, the first hearing that we conducted there in Davao City, he was the first resource person to be summoned. And we had fiery exchanges, and I was chastising him for the unresolved killings in Davao. And in front of his people, the whole officialdom of Davao City were there. The councilors, the barangay chairpersons, the police and the military were there. But I chastised him. So
That's it. How
Yes.
dare you, a woman,
and a woman at that.
talking to him that way. So I think that's probably the reason.
It is. It is, ma'am.
Is there anything that you had to do with the International Court of Justice in Hague? The Hague,
The ICC.
the ICC,
Yes.
International Court of Justice, Criminal Court.
Oh, yes. Actually, ma'am, I was one of those who submitted communication to the International Criminal Court, because there's no such thing as complaints filed with the International Criminal Court, just communications or information. So I was one of those who submitted the ICC, and I've been closely monitoring the investigation. And I know for a fact that both Mr. Edgar Matubato and Mr. Arturo Las Cañas are now under the protective custody of the ICC. And I know also that the investigation of the ICC is at its advanced stage already. So we've been hoping, we're praying, and we're expecting that something very significant, an outcome, would come from the ICC, and that is the issuance of the arrest warrants. That's what we expect because we know that they had been gathering a lot of information already and then counter-checking them, fact-checking them, assessing those information and evidence. So it's just a matter of time, I guess, that we would see a warrant of arrest being issued by the pre-trial chamber of the ICC, although I don't think they will announce that beforehand. In
Yes.
other words, they would avoid any leakage of the warrant of arrest.
Wow, all of those who are a challenge to his manhood, that
Yes.
you, a woman, would. So it was part of your complaint to the ICC before you were arrested.
Yes.
Were you already arrested?
No, I filed the communication. It was actually a supplemental communication to the ones earlier filed by Attorney Jude Sabio, the late Attorney Jude Sabio, and also of former Senator Sonny Trillanes and the former Congressman Gary Alejano. They filed earlier, and I followed suit. If
As a senator?
As a senator. That was in December 2016 that I submitted that supplemental communication to the ICC. And then in February 2017, I was arrested and detained.
Okay, so with all of those conditions, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and so many months, how did you manage not to say, get me out of here, I can't stand it anymore?
Yeah, I just had to endure it. It's actually mind over matter. I had to adopt a very strict daily routine so that I'll be doing something. I was avoiding idle moments because it is during idle moments that you'll be thinking about a lot of things, including inviting depression and negativism. So as much as I could, I would really follow that very strict daily routine from the time that I would wake up to the time that I would go to sleep. And that is either reading, because I had lots of books there. Books are not contrabands. They allowed all reading materials. And also praying. I had all the time to pray the rosary, read the Bible, do meditation and reflection, and some physical work, like cleaning my compound and my quarters and doing some exercise. I would do walking in the compound, and I would be feeding also the birds that assemble in my compound early morning, and of course the stray cats that I adopted there in Camp Crame.
How many cats did you adopt?
More than 20.
20 cats.
And
Okay, they kept you sane.
Yes, they did. They kept my sanity intact, especially during the pandemic. And some of them, 3 or 5 of them, would even sleep on my small bed. And then I talked to them. Because I could not talk to anybody else.
That's right. Yes,
there.
yes.
So, malaking bagay po yung mga pusa. And then I did some gardening because there's a small space there. And then sa Kiko Pangilinan, former Senator Kiko Pangilinan would send me from time to time some plants, some seeds to plant it on my small garden.
Yes,
so those are small joys in life. In detention, you get to appreciate even little things, things that you tended to ignore when you were free.
Yes.
And I did realize that freedom is so important, and it's even more valuable than life itself. Come to think of it, freedom. If you're deprived of freedom, especially unjustly deprived of freedom, it's terrible. The effect is terrible. At first, ma'am, when I was arrested, the first few weeks, I was in utter disbelief and I was enraged.
Yes, you are senator.
Yes, I was.
And it's not true. It's all trumped up.
Utter disbelief. I thought it's just going to be regular vilification, just daily curses and all those. But I never thought that they'd go to that extent of filing those fabricated cases and jailing me. So I was in disbelief, and at the same time I was so angry. But of course I was so sad the first few days. I would cry and at night thinking of my family until I was able to adjust.
So, has it ever been a moment where you say, Lord, what? Why me? Or, being angry with God for, it's unjust. You're a senator and you're in jail without air condition in a hot Philippines.
I had those thoughts. Now, especially when I was taken hostage, you probably have heard about it, that I was taken hostage in October 9, 2022 by an Abu Sayyaf extremist.
That's the last year.
Yes, October 9, 2022.
Yes.
And then I was in the middle of that incident, I was actually, sabi ko, Lord, ano ho ba ito? Almost 6 years na ako nakakulong, nagsakripisyo, and then I'll just end up this way.
Okay, so for those who did not know about it, it's very strict to enter and visit Senator Leila de Lima in prison, so that you will be checked on the one, look at your things, another one, three
Yes.
times
Yes.
before you can visit her. But here, suddenly, 2?
Yeah, initially 3, but the 2 were gunned down, so only one was able to really.
Okay. So
hold
three
hostage.
terrorists,
Abu Sayyaf.
Abu
yes.
Sayyaf, was able to go through 1, 2, 3 without any trouble. So alam mo, that was staged. And the purpose, I think, was to kill you. Okay? So that's what she was saying. To those who have not seen it, can you imagine, she's all alone there. Eto na ngayon, 6 years already, and then here comes a person who is intent to kill her. Please, if you can describe to us what happened.
Oh, it's a little story.
I'm
Ma'am.
sorry.
But okay, I was praying the rosary early morning of October 9. It was a Sunday, and I didn't know that something was happening already outside my compound. I could not hear the commotions outside. It turned out that these 3 Abu Sayyaf extremists were trying to escape because they had a separate compound. And it was a Sunday, and one suspicious thing about it is that how come only one guard delivered the breakfast to this Abu Sayyaf extremist? They're supposed
In the jail.
They're supposed to be high risk or high security inmates. So normally it should be a team of 5 guards who would be delivering the breakfast to them. But on that day, it was a Sunday, only one. So he was ganged up by these 3. He almost died. They stabbed him multiple times, the 3 of them. They had this improvised knives. So they were stabbing them, and then they ran. But then when they were running, because I think their main agenda was actually to escape, but they needed
A hostage.
because it would be very difficult to get out of that facility. It's in the middle of Camp Crame. Camp Crame is supposed to be one of the most secured places in our country. Is the Philippine National Police main headquarters. Now, so they were running, and then the guard at the tower, who happened to be a sniper, shot them. So the 2 were instantly killed, but one of them was able to climb the fence with barbed wires and all, climb and then run to my compound. And I was praying the rosary. I was shocked to see somebody inside my room.
How about your guard in front of your...
I have no guard in front of them. The guard is at the tower.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I have no guard. But there's a CCTV there, supposedly, a big CCTV on my compound. But on that day, it was not working. It was not working. Suddenly.
Maybe intentionally.
It was not working. So he grabbed me and then held me hostage. He had this knife constantly pressing on
your chest.
On my chest. And then he was telling me, Mom, okay, he was of course saying it in Tagalog, Mom, you have to come with me. I have to go out of this facility. My two companions, my two comrades have been killed already. You're my only chance for me to go out of this facility. And then I was hesitating, of course, and I thought at first it was even just a nightmare. And then I realized it was really happening. And he dragged me, he really was manhandling me. He was choking me, and he was dragging me outside of my quarters and then all the way to the gate of my compound. But then he saw that the main gate of the maximum facility, because we were in a maximum security compound, was locked already because the other detainees were evacuated when this thing was happening, when I was being taken hostage already. So they had to evacuate all the other detainees, and they locked that main gate. So we could not go out anymore, although he was really choking me and he was constantly
So you got out of the house?
of the quarters.
Of the quarters.
But we had to return because the gate, the main gate
closed.
was locked. And then there was this sniper also at the tower, and they were pointing the rifle at us and saying something like, don't hurt Mom, don't hurt Mom. I will not shoot you, but just don't hurt Mom. That's what the guard was saying. So he had to bring me back to my quarters, and then he seated me on a chair. He blindfolded me, he tied my hands, and he tied my feet.
Oh my God.
And then constantly pressing.
Oh my God. So
I would even scream, it's painful. Aray, wag naman ganyan.
Wow.
It hurts. And then he would put it here on my heart, No, that's my heart. So please don't. So he would again transfer.
Sus Mariosep, so you were negotiating, grabe. At that moment.
Yeah, and then
So
he said,
were you ready to die? Because it could have killed you.
Yeah, he was dead serious. He was dead serious. He even prayed already when his demands were not being met because he had 3 demands, and then it was not. There was a negotiator already, a director, the director of the facility, and there were already snipers outside the SAF, the Special Action Forces of the PNP, because the headquarters of the SAF were just beside the custodial center. So they were there in a matter of minutes. They were there, but then again. They could not just shoot because we were at the inner part of the detention quarters while I was seated and blindfolded.
Oh my God.
He was praying already, and in Arabic he was saying goodbye already to Allah. And then I had to pray also. And then I just said, Lord, bahala na po kayo. Take care of me and take care of my family. I just have one request. Make it quick.
Oh my God.
Because
Talaga you were ready to die.
I was ready to
Oh my
die.
God.
Until he made the mistake of asking for a glass of water because I thought he was just thirsty. But it was explained to me later by a police official who was assigned in that area in Mindanao that actually asking for water is part of the ritual.
Before you die.
Before you die.
Oh my God.
So, but then he didn't want, because I said, okay, you can get it at the dispenser. No, Mom. You let him get it, pointing to the director. So he didn't want.
So the director was negotiating with him.
Yes, the director was negotiating with him. He was just dribbling the negotiator. And then he asked for the water, and he wanted the director to get the water for him because he would not want to be distracted. I mean, he was just there in front of me while constantly pressing his knife on my chest. Nagka-trauma ito for several weeks. This was painful, the whole part, including the back. But then he committed that mistake of asking for water because the director was preparing already to take him down because he could hear what the hostage taker was saying. When he was saying multiple times,
Yes.
I will kill you, I will kill you,
Oo.
and all that. So he was just waiting for the proper timing, and that was the timing that when he was asked to give him the water.
Oo.
So he hid pala a small handgun, at
The
his right
negotiator.
side, the negotiator,
Oo.
and he happens to be a marksman.
Oo.
So nung nakalapit na po siya,
Oo.
when he was near us,
Oo.
and he was and he handed the glass of water
Yes, yes,
to
yes.
the hostage taker.
Yes.
So he was momentarily distracted also. So the knife medyo umangat. And then I just heard successive close range shooting.
Wow.
I never saw.
Because you had blindfolded.
Yes. It was close range at my right side.
On the right
Medyo napingi nga po ako noon. And then they immediately brought me out
Oo.
and they removed my
Only then.
then. So I didn't see anymore yung itsura of the hostage taker. But when I removed my blindfold,
Oo.
blood. There's lots of blood on my legs.
Oh my God.
So that's very.
Oo.
It was harrowing, near
Yes,
death.
of course.
I was really so scared the whole time,
Of course.
but I pretended not to be scared.
Yes.
I was fighting
Yes.
off my fear, because if you get overwhelmed
Yes.
by fear,
Yes.
then you wouldn't be able to think properly.
Yes. Tapang, courage. Oh my God. Ooh. But so you knew that you were saved. Okay. So what was that for you? A sigh of relief, but maybe your whole body reacted, as you said, for weeks.
They had to bring me to the PNP General Hospital within Camp Crame, subjected me to several tests, my ECG and all. And then they determined there's trauma here. And they also, there's a group of psychologists who also checked
Yes.
my condition.
Yes.
And they were surprised to learn that there was no trauma.
Yes.
The trauma was physical,
Physical. Yes.
but
yes.
not psychological.
Yes.
So,
Oh my God. Thank you for going us through this. And to those who are listening, this is former Senator Leila de Lima. Now she's running as a party list of Malayang Liberal, ML number 6.
Mamamayang Liberal.
Mamamayang Liberal. Or for those here, ML means Malayang Leila.
Malayang Laila.
Leila de Lima. Okay, so please, after hearing this, you cannot but just check on party list number 6. ML.
Shade.
Number
You
6.
do the shade.
You shade it pala, hindi check. You shade it. She has to be in Congress. This brave woman, Urago na Bicolana, you have to vote for her. Number 6, party list ML, Manay, Leila de Lima. Okay? A big hand for her, please. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Salamat
so much.
tunon. Salamat tunon.
Mabalos po.
Diyos ko po.
Just mabalos.
Oh my God.
Just marvelous po.
So, okay, you don't mind. There is a question from Angela N. I'm so happy that you are finally free. You're the definition of strength and courage, and I admire you for remaining steadfast for the last 7 years. My question is, what can you share about the things you want to do now that you are finally free? From Angela N.
Oh, well, because I joined this party list, this Mamamayang Liberal party list as nominee number 1, of course I will pursue my advocacies and also the advocacies of the party list, because we are the multi-sectoral arm or wing of the Liberal Party. So we stand for freedom, we stand for democracy, we stand for justice, and we stand for social justice. So it's multi-sectoral. There are several sectors that we are representing, and therefore we have come up with legislative proposals for each of these sectors. But if we are to just single them out into just about 3, it would be about katarungan, it would be about kalikasan, it would be about edukasyon. And I think those advocacies are broad enough to cover the pressing issues besetting our country.
Okay, that's in Tagalog. For those who don't understand, katarungan,
Justice,
justice, and kalikasan,
environment,
and
education.
education. All right, thank you very much for that. Now, another question from Raul D. Former Senator, what is your comment sa mga family dynasty politics na wala namang naitutulong sa bayan? All right, that's from Raul D.
I've been pushing actually for an anti-dynasty law. It's long overdue. It's there in the Constitution. It's very clear that the Constitution prohibits political dynasties. Only that, I think the drafters or the crafters of the Constitution made the mistake of not making it a self-executing provision and still requiring an enabling law. Because really, political dynasties, the existence and prevalence of the political dynasties is among the root causes of many problems in our country. So but in reality, it's difficult. It's difficult to have that anti-political dynasty law because I think about 60% already of Congress is composed of members of political families. But then we just have to push and push for it. And we are hoping that, because there is a petition pending with the Supreme Court filed by a group of UP lawyers. It's a petition for mandamus, seeking to compel Congress to enact an anti-dynasty law because it is a directive from the Constitution. It's something that they must do.
All right, for those who are not aware, the Constitution that was passed in 1987 says that there should political dynasties, families
are prohibited
from running in any elective office. But it's not been but the Congress itself has not provided the details of that Constitution. Okay, salamat po. Another one, or is this the, I think that we can only have the last one. I have one more. From Kim V. After everything, you choose to give public service a go again. What fuels this return? Saan ka patuloy na makukuha, saan ka kumuha ng lakas? Saan ka kumukuha ng lakas? Where do you get your courage after all what you have undergone? Okay, that's from Kim
Thank you for that question. It must be in my DNA. And then I come from a family of strong women, actually. My grandmother and then several of my titas are really strong-willed women. And my father reared me to be strong. And I thanked him so much. If only he was alive today. But when I was imprisoned, he was not there anymore. He passed away in 2012, colon cancer. 2012, when I was Justice Secretary. So when I became a senator, he's no longer there. But he did, my parents did rear me as a strong. But, I never, because I always thought that I've always been a strong woman. But then, when I was jailed, I realized that there could still be, I still have more potential for strength. Because your strength is indeed tested under very adverse circumstances like detention.
Oh my God, detention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Okay. So the last question is from Jappy A. When given the chance to serve, what will be your priorities? Although you mentioned it, maybe one or two priorities.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, to be honest, I did not intend, I didn't have plans to rejoin politics or to run for any position this 2025 elections. When I was released from detention in November 2023, I thought, and my plan was just to go back to my private law practice. I used to be an election lawyer before I joined government service. And I wanted also to just resume teaching in law schools. I used to teach law in San Beda College of Law. So I didn't have any plans. And in fact, when I was going around, because after my release, our party president, the late former Congressman Edsel Lagman, was actually encouraging me to run, especially for the Senate. And then I told him, Sir, Manong Edsel, hindi pa ako ready, especially for the Senate. And then he said, okay, whether or not you're going to run for the 2025 elections, my advice to you is go around the country and tell your story directly to the people, and especially sa mga universities, state colleges. So I share my story, my life in detention, and why it was done to me, why I was subjected to that years of persecution. So that's all my plan. And then a development happened, and that was the accreditation by the COMELEC of ML as a party list, for the first time accredited as a party list. So my colleagues in the LP convinced me to be its nominee number 1. So yun po. So right now, that's my aim, to be there kung papalarin po tayo, and since it's party list and therefore for marginalized sectors. Your focus now is on the marginalized sectors, giving voice to them, voice to the voiceless, voice to the powerless, the marginalized sectors. That's my plan at the moment. Let's see what's next.
Yes. So there you have it, the courageous, strong, unbreakable woman, Leila de Lima, number 6, please, on party list for this coming May election. And for those, she was in prison. So she has even sold her home for her defense. So for those who would like, please contribute to her campaign. This is now the Loida Lewis Podcast. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn together. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Salamat. Thank you. Uragon talaga.
The Loida Lewis Podcast, hosted by Loida Lewis, is produced by the creators of Over a Glass or Two, Jesse and JV. Executive produced by Laura Nicholas Olace. Rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for a chance to be featured on a future episode. Have a question for Miss Loida? Just email us on askloidalewis@gmail.com. Your question might make its way to a future episode. Subscribe on all major platforms to never miss a beat. Thank you for listening to the Loida Lewis Podcast. Let's live, love, laugh, and learn together